Here live on this 25th day of October in the year of our Lord 2023. And we have a speaker. We have a speaker.
You're being rude. You're fake news. You're fake news. Stop being rude. You're fake news.
No.
That is such fake news.
It is not fake news. You want to get one of these?
Fake news.
It is not fake news, boss. I'm telling you, Mr. President, it's not fake news. You kind of gave the okay to this guy. He better be good. Name is Mike Johnson, and he is good. And he has the benefit having hidden. I don't think on purpose. I really don't. I'd love to get the backstory of this because as of Sunday, he wasn't on the list of 3. He wasn't on the list of 8. I don't think he was on the list of 20, which is probably how he won. Nobody had any time to develop any anger at him. Now, it doesn't seem like you should have any anger at him. He was a talk show host. Since that's what I am now, I kind of like that. I always liked it when mayors got ahead because I thought, well, they know something about administration. I don't know if talk show hosts do, but in any event, he's actually been very active in Congress. Do you know he passed more bills per time in the Congress than anybody there? It means he likes to pass bills rather than. Now, there's a rap on him that he's not a great fundraiser, but the speaker doesn't have to be a great fundraiser. He needs to get one. He needs to get a guy who wants to be speaker, later, and makes his bones by raising lots of money. He seems to be right on everything, including the things I'm interested in, which is he didn't accept the election rollover. He was right there helping the attorneys general with the lawsuit of all the states against Pennsylvania for cheating its backside off and for embarrassing the citizens of Pennsylvania by putting in a fraudulent election result with a crooked attorney general, now governor, and secretary of state at the helm, and with a Philadelphia that, did what Philadelphia does, cheats. When I say that the Democrats have the advantage in cheating in an election of having cities that are entirely corrupt, before you take the first part of that, do you accept the second part of it? Do you accept that New York, Philadelphia, Detroit, Chicago, Milwaukee, Minneapolis, Atlanta, Georgia, there are others, but let's just pick those. Do you accept that these are entirely corrupt Democrat dictatorships? What that I mean is a Republican has no chance one Republican may get elected. For example, in New York, I was the 3rd Republican elected in the 20th century, and only 2 of us remained Republican. One of them became a Democrat. But the 2 of us are probably the 2 best mayors in the history of the city, LaGuardia and Giuliani. They also happen to be Italian Americans, except he was half Jewish. And in the records of the White House, I'm half Jewish. I told you the story once. I bet you don't remember it. I will someday when you do something good and you need a reward. I'll tell you why I am listed as half Jewish in the White House records somewhere. And now this will get Smith and Fanny and all those crooks in Georgia. It'll get them to, including the warped, crooked, incompetent prosecutors who are getting those poor people to plead guilty. I'm not allowed to say anything about it, but I am allowed to make facial expressions. Man, if those halfwits can turn you, whoa! You look at that indictment, and if you are half a lawyer, It doesn't have a crime in it. I don't know what the hell they're pleading to. I must have missed the crime in the indictment. I have no idea what some of my old friends are pleading to, but they're not crimes. By the way, Stumblebum Cohen, who testified against Trump, pleaded to a non-crime. Now, you're going to say, Giuliani, you're absolutely true. He pleaded to violating the campaign finance law, right? And the violation was the payment to the woman to settle a case. Well, the overwhelming body of opinion of scholars is that is not a crime because the Edwards case pretty much settled that, where Edwards was acquitted, hung jury, and the Justice Department took the view of we're going to prosecute it because it was too much of a stretch of the law. But that didn't stop the Southern District of getting in the plead to it. So they were so desperate to get a plea. They got him to plead to something that would connect to Trump in some vague way. They had him plead guilty to a non-criminal campaign finance violation. And the stuff that these other people are pleading guilty to is like, I am guilty because I acted as a lawyer. Put me in prison forever. Wow. People get scared. And when they get scared, stuff happens. Okay. So Mike Johnson is the new speaker. He was in favor of challenging the election. He was right on every budget issue. He seems to have a very balanced view on Israel, Gaza, and the Ukraine, the right view. And I think he's going to. I think he's going to work real hard on this funding, particularly the $60 billion to Ukraine. When Biden wants to give 4-1 to Ukraine, it almost seems as Israel is a footnote to that request. When Biden has already given over $100 billion, and we haven't the foggiest idea what happened to the money. I have no idea. I mean, you can't go look at an accounting of the money. And I'm sorry. I mean, you may not know. I do. I'm charged with knowledge of this, but stuff doesn't happen honestly in Ukraine. Now, nobody knows that better than our crooked president, who took millions out of there for bribery, and probably has millions in offshore bank accounts that the FBI fails to go try to find to this day, because Ray is somebody that Trump should also probably be in prison particularly for suppressing the hard drive when it could have been used to obviate obviate the election. Come to think of it, I mean, here Biden gets up and makes that lying statement. Sorry, I'm a little personal about it because he calls me a Russian pawn, but he also calls the president an agent of the Russians. And the Attorney General of the United States and the head of the FBI sit there with the hard drive like this. Nobody's going to get it from us. Let him elect Biden under false pretenses. We don't care. After all, we don't really care about America or a fair election. I mean, this all these crimes that he committed, how much could it be? 30 million, 40 million? I mean, it was China, and they are an enemy. And that does sound a little like treason. Hey, Fatso Bar, doesn't it sound a little like treason? What the hell's wrong with you? And what's wrong with the press not requiring you to explain it? You had that hard drive for a year. You validated it in December of 2019. When they were calling me a Russian pawn, you knew I wasn't. And when they were saying that this information was Russian disinformation and really shouldn't be counted, when now 20% of the American people say they would have changed their vote if they had it, you don't feel like you committed an obstruction of justice? You mean those J6 people obstructed the election more than you did? They obstructed nothing, actually, in the long run. They should be prosecuted for what kind of a sentence do you get for creating a 4-hour delay? What you did was you created a phony president. That's what you did. And you also are lying your backside off, which is horrible, about investigating election fraud. You didn't do that. You actually told people not to do it. A couple of them have testified under oath. One I just talked to. You didn't investigate it. And people want to know why Trump didn't follow your proclamations on election, because he knew what a big liar you were about the hard drive and how you're capable of committing horrible acts against the republic, which is what holding that hard drive back was. I think Johnson has got it. I think he's going to be a very, very good speaker. And I think this exercise will have convinced the House they got a big agenda and they got a country to save. This isn't a joke. They got a country to save. Somebody has to save our troops, and it's not the commander-in-chief. I brought this out yesterday. I did a special this morning. Might have done it the other day. It isn't cracking through yet, but we keep going because it's an outrage. Since October 18th, there have been, and I'm not counting today because I don't have the exact number for today, there have been 20, let me get the exact numbers here. There have been 11 attacks in Iraq on American forces. There have been 3 attacks in Iraq on American forces. There have been a minimum of 24 American military personnel injured. And there has been 1 American contractor working for the military who died. Every one of those attacks, of which the number is hard to get exactly. What would you say it is, Ted? What's the best number now? It keeps changing.
on the number of attacks?
The latest one is getting a little fuzzy. They say 24. So
I know it to be at least 14.
Well, they say now 24 American military. Well, that's the personnel that were injured.
Oh, injured in the 40s now. We're up to 40, mid 40s.
Oh, we're in the 40s with injury if you have a death.
Yes.
And so what do we say about 14 attacks?
At least 14 attacks.
I think that probably if we count some we don't know about and some today, we're probably pushing 20 attacks. What does it matter, 14 or 20? Here's what really matters. We have done nothing. America has gone and done nothing. We have said, thank you, Iran. You are allowed to attack our troops. After all, they're just troops. Who knows? There may even be deplorables. There may even be Republicans, those troops. We don't really care about them. No money in it. These people are evil. Blinken is evil. You know when you can tell Blinken's evil? You can tell Blinken's evil if you look at that clip on Face the Nation when he announces that there are 500 Americans that are stranded in Gaza, and he doesn't even think of them as hostages. He doesn't even think of them as kidnapped people. He doesn't even think of them as imprisoned people. They're just like, let them get themselves out. And we're seeking delays or now cancellation of the invasion to help the people who are holding Americans against their will in a country they don't want to be in a country where they can be killed. We're sending them humanitarian aid, and Biden and Blinken really think that us Americans are stupid enough not to know that Hamas is taking all of it. It wouldn't be a terrorist group if it didn't do that. It wouldn't be a dictatorship if it didn't do that. That's what would happen in Nazi Germany if you sent humanitarian aid. Hitler would take it, and everybody would understand it. But because we live in a corrupt world now, and a particularly corrupt American media, I'm the only one pointing this out to you. I'm shocked. I and some of my colleagues who do essentially what I do, this kind of commentary, are pointing it out to you. But I don't think anybody's pointing out to you the 500 Americans that are stuck and will not be allowed out of Gaza. Please tell me what that is, please. I mean, we got a really great audience, and we got a big audience, and we sometimes go over 1 million people. And for that, I am eternally grateful to you. But we just don't have a big enough audience to get this out. I wish we had 50 million people we could tell that to. Americans need to know that it's not 10 Americans that are being held there only. It's 500. And the totally corrupt, disgusting Blinken doesn't even know who they are or care. Now, I happen to dislike Blinken a lot because he's the guy that went and got the phony letter from the 51 pimps who worked as American intelligence agents, who wrote that hard drive had earmarks of Russian disinformation. And I was the guy who was accused by lying Biden of being a Russian pawn. And if you don't think that did damage to me, you have no doubt. You should have no doubt of that, which is why I am suing Biden in a court in New Hampshire. And of course, it gets no publicity. I am suing the president of the United States for defamation. And it is a cold, clear case. He said, I'm a Russian pawn. 16 months later, every newspaper in the world said that wasn't true. They validated the hard drive. There was no connection to Russia. So he lied. And now, with the validation of the hard drive going back a year, we can prove that he lied. And it violates Times Against Sullivan. It violates everything. And let's see if anybody pays attention to it. He can defame someone. Not only that, it was much bigger than just defaming me. He misled a country into electing him who would not have. You have told us with poll after poll that if you knew about the hard drive, you never would have elected the 30-year career criminal as president. And that's why it was held back from you. It was held back from you by those 51 pimps, by Blinken, who organized it, and by people who used to once have a reputation. Everything, every medal they got, every single thing they got should be taken away from them. Because what they did was to help destroy a country. I'm not just talking about what they did to me, what they did to you. They're the ones who deprive you of that information. You want to get a little more technical, they're also the one that screwed up American intelligence for about 20 years. One of these days, go take a look at their record for accuracy in Iraq, in Benghazi. Want to try a few more? I guess when you're a pimp, you're always a pimp. Isn't that the Godfather said? Tartaglia was a pimp. He never could have had Fort Trentino. Well, every one of those guys, starting with Brennan, is a pimp and a liar and a danger to America. And they had security clearances until Trump had the guts to take it away from them. And I'm sure that the crook in the White House gave it back to them. Well, we're going to take a short break, and we will be right back. Jonathan Towers Foundation delivers on its promise to do good and never forget the sacrifices America's greatest heroes have made for us. Heroes who risked their lives to keep our communities and our country safe. Heroes like United States Marine Corps Captain and pilot John Jeremy Sachs. Captain Sachs sustained fatal injuries when his military aircraft crashed during training, killing him and 5 other service members. He's remembered by loved ones as courageous, brilliant, and devoted to his career, family, and friends. John is survived by his wife, Amber, who gave birth to their second daughter 3 months after his death. Tunnelton Towers paid the mortgage on the family home for Amber and their 2 daughters. The foundation has helped over 1,000 military and first responder families navigate the worst of times by removing the burden of a mortgage payment. Our nation's heroes and their families need your help now more than ever. Donate $11 a month to Tunnel to Towers at T2T.org. T2T.org. That's T, the number 2T.org. T2T.org. Please donate now. I think this is a special time to donate to Tunnel to Towers because we do have, as we said, now we're up to 40 American soldiers, American military people. Some could be Navy, I'm not sure, Marines, injured. I don't know how seriously. A group were not that serious. Well, some were rather seriously injured, but not in any way life-threatening. Then one were minor injuries for 4. They were described as, but the latest ones I'm not sure. But in any event, I mean, there's the risk at any moment that one of them could, God forbid, die, like the American contractor who did, or one of them could be catastrophically injured. Right there is Tunnel to Towers. T2T.org. The minute they come back to the States, or maybe even over there, they'll be told that your family's mortgage is being taken care of. And if, God forbid, you can't move your arms or your legs and you need a special home built from scratch, they'll build it for you. That's what the $11 is for. So send it in to T2T.org. It'll make you, like, people will say, what can I do? What can I do? What can I do? There's a lot you can do. This would be basic. This is what you can do. And then you prove you're not like Blinken, who doesn't give a goddamn for our American troops or our Americans, because he would not be this nonchalant about this stupid little statement that he made that, Teddy, you're going to try to dig out so we can once again show that Blinken is a piece of crap, okay?
Let's play that. Wanna play it now?
Well, if you want to play it right now, I'd like that.
We have, you're exactly right, we have several hundred Americans and other nationalities, other civilians from other countries who want to leave Gaza. We've had people come to Rafah, the crossing with Egypt, and to date at least, Hamas has blocked them from leaving, showing once again its total disregard for civilians of any kind who are stuck in Gaza. This is something that we're working, again, virtually every single day. We have right now in the region on the ground, one of our most experienced diplomats, David Satterfield, working with the different governments concerned, with Israel, with Egypt, to make sure that we're ready to be able to get people out, assuming Hamas lets them move. So really, the ball is in Hamas's court in terms of letting people who want to leave, civilians from third countries, including Americans, get out of Gaza.
Just to be clear, you're saying Hamas is preventing Americans from leaving Gaza?
That's correct.
And there are no U.S. personnel who are able to help on the ground?
We have U.S. personnel on the other side of the border in Egypt, consular personnel who can immediately help and assist those Americans who want to leave. We're working this very, very actively every day, including with partners who may have influence, connections.
Is it off?
Yep.
Okay, good. So I don't know if you have the same reaction that I have to that. First of all, she brings it up. He doesn't. He looks like he's talking about, is it going to be cold or warm out today? And do you have a blanket if in case it's cold? I mean, it's ridiculous. And we're going to get them out. Well, hey, craphead. This is Wednesday. That was Sunday. You get any of them out? No. Have you responded to the 14 at least attacks on American forces on American bases? No. Well, then why don't you resign and let somebody who has a pair of balls do the job, huh? How about you have someone who loves America do the job? An attack on an American base is an act of war. Do you Democrat, anti-American, pro, whatever the hell you are, ever get it? I mean, this is what happened in the buildup to September 11 when bin Laden hit us and killed Americans and took out an American ship. declared war on America. And Clinton, I guess, was otherwise engaged, and therefore he bombed empty fields, to which bin Laden, it is reported, basically laughed. You can do that. I can do a lot more. You don't think that that's what's going on? That's why it's now 14 times, and they do it 3-4 times a day. They keep doing it so they get stopped. And then they'll escalate, and they'll escalate, and they'll escalate. And with the 500 or 600 people in Gaza that are not being let out, that are at a minimum prisoners, kidnapped, or could be considered hostages, we should demand that every one of them be identified, that American diplomatic personnel be allowed to visit with them, and that they be allowed to cross the border. Iran has declared, Iran has committed acts of war against us. Now, you can play games all you want. Iran's running this war. Iran is running the war. Israel is getting hit now from 3 locations every day. They get hit from Gaza, they get hit from Lebanon, and they get hit from Syria every day. Their troops are being held back by Biden, solely and completely by Biden. Bibi every day is losing credibility with his troops. He went and made a speech to them, sort of like the kind of speech a MacArthur or a Patton or a great general would make about, how they're going to go in, and they were all fired up to do it about 2 days ago. And they're still sitting there, cleaning their weapons. You know what happens to an army like that? It becomes dispirited. It loses morale. And if there ever is an assault, it's going to be less than what it could be. And this has only happened because of Biden. The Israelis, for example, if they were allowed to defend themselves, would never have sent in the humanitarian aid for a couple of reasons. First of all, the theory of their attack is to cut off the electricity, to cut off everything to Gaza, so that none of the systems that they have can work. Now, I don't know exactly the systems they're talking about, but I'm sure it has to do with making those mines booby-trapped. We've given them fuel so they can use it at home. Are we stupid? Like, they're going to need fuel to booby-trap so they can kill the Israeli troops when they come in, but they're going to give it to little Mohammed to bring home to the family because they're so kind to the Palestinian people, who they have told to stay there and get killed when the Israelis have told them to please move so they don't get killed. Right? And if you really think that hit on the hospital was a backfire, just coincidentally creating the ability to create a false blood libel on the Jewish people, well then, what's the expression? I can sell you the Brooklyn Bridge. These people have no regard for human life. They have no regard for their own people. They'll take the food out of their mouths as easily as kill them. They'll get them killed. And if they have fuel coming, that fuel's going to Hamas. Supplied by Biden in the same way that Obama financed a good deal of the terrorist activities of Iran, for which he should now, rather than being a wealthy multi-billionaire, he should be the ex-president that's been prosecuted, not Donald Trump, because he actually committed crimes that cost people's lives. So here's an article. It says right at the top of it, "You are president of the United States. How could you live with yourself if you read this? Iran-backed militias are shooting at American troops in Iraq and Syria and getting away with it." I read it again. Iran, this is from Tuesday. Iran-backed militias are shooting at American troops in Iraq and Syria and getting away with it. Iran-backed troops are shooting at American troops in Iraq and Syria and getting away with it. There's I could go over again the bases they hit. I think you probably got it, but I mean, they're basically in Iraq and in Syria. We've got 2,400 in Iraq. We have at least 900 in Syria, soldiers. We have civilian personnel, not just on their own, civilian personnel doing contract work for the United States government. We have responsibility for them. By the way, we have responsibility for all Americans. It's not like Biden who's left them behind to die. How do you tolerate Congress keeping him there as an American citizen? Or how do you tolerate his cabinet not taking him out on the 24th Amendment because he's gaga? It's now becoming your fault, the American citizens, for not demanding that he be removed. Those soldiers can't do it. The ones who are going to die because he's doing nothing to help them, Iran's just going to keep it up. They've already killed one civilian. It's only a matter of God's good graces. They didn't kill the people they wounded. They're shooting to kill. And how long are we going to delay this? How long are we going to delay this? I don't know. I really don't know. Meanwhile, we're going through an unbelievable revelation of the corruption within our society. This organization used to be a favorite of mine. It is one of the reasons why we won the Cold War. It should now be disbanded. And the day Trump gets in office, he should end it, and it should be reestablished. And I'll tell you why. The Voice of America issued its own instruction to avoid calling Hamas terrorists. They want to change the law. Hamas has been designated a terrorist under American law. The Voice of America does not have the right, the ability to change the designation or give the impression that it's been changed. And since they're called the Voice of America, they are now really issuing a false statement. Nobody in America has said that Hamas is not a terrorist. They have no right to put out an instruction saying that they're not terrorists and calling them combatants or warriors or heroes or who the hell knows what these hateful people who are in the Voice of America are going to do. I do know what should happen to them. The day a Republican or Trump gets into office, hopefully Trump, every single one of them should be fired. The whole thing should be dissolved. It hasn't done any good for America in a long time, and it's not working for America. It's working for Hamas. We're not talking about some, slight political difference. We're talking about a terrorist group that just chopped babies' heads off to create terror, that just raped women, dead or alive. And they are designated as terrorist groups by every responsible country in the world. And who the hell are you, Voice of America, left-wing idiots, to change it? They cannot change the designation. They do not have the authority to do that. And since they talk for America, let's face it, that's what they're doing. But this is no different than the AP, who, for example, decided not to use the word surge to describe the record number of migrants crossing the border. A record that Biden has set every year he's in office. And almost every month that he's in office, more and more people come over, and more Americans die of fentanyl poisoning. More and more children are abducted and put into sex traffic. And more spies get in. And if the Islamic extremists haven't gotten everybody in here they want, they still have a year and a half to do it. So they couldn't use the word surge. They probably don't want to cover it. And they did not want the violence and looting in the aftermath of the George Floyd killing. AP changed the word riot to unrest. And they didn't want to use the word riot for January 6th. They wanted to use the word insurrection because riot wasn't good enough. And of course, the insurrection is belied by the fact that no one was carrying a gun and no one's been charged with insurrection. And we spent $40 or $50 million on that basically useless investigation. One that will turn out to be one of the great, unfortunate black marks on American history, in which massive violations of human rights took place, with a few people that deserve to be prosecuted, almost none of them to the extent that they were, and a riot, an uprising, or whatever you want to call it, in which the government participated as much as the people involved, leading to probably some pretty good entrapment defenses. The FBI will not tell you the number of FBI agents in there. No one will tell you the number of Antifa people in there, although I know there were Antifa people in there. And I have a number confirming it afterwards at 240. But they won't even investigate it. Nor will they show the video. And when you sneak out video, it always contradicts. One guy that was accused of hitting somebody, the video just came out. He never hit anybody. They hit him. Every time video comes out, charges have to be reduced. Charges have to be dropped. They lied. I mean, they lied from the beginning that people died that didn't die. And they refused to investigate Ashley Babbitt. But we have to call it an insurrection. AP does. This is a terrible era we live in. And it's because the Biden administration has taken us, we were moving toward socialism. We got there. We were moving toward fascism during the pandemic. We're there. And now Marx would be proud of us. We're pretty much where he would want us to be with Biden and his Bidenistas, who stomp over the rights of people who disagree with them. Oh, go much further than that. They try to imprison them. Really, I mean, if they had their way with Trump and me, and you consider our ages, we would be in jail until we died. That's basically what they would like for us. So now we are going to take a short balance of nature break. And when you come back,
Here they come.
mm-hmm.
The year is 2022. Cancel culture is the new normal. Online freedom, as we know it, has ended. Digital stockades are here. All activity is monitored, stored, and predictively analyzed by a technological cartel. We're being converted into a digital resource, a digital currency to be farmed for metadata and loaded into a computerized combine, blockchained to a social engineering operating system. However, it doesn't have to be this way. Be part of a new technological revolution. Right now, 1,000 test pilots have launched themselves into a new digital frontier, a private network outside of big tech control. New technology with state-of-the-art digital engagement and never-done-before security and privacy features that are now operational. With Quick's digital engagement, entertainment, communication, and commercial exchange will never be the same. We are QUX. Quicks. Advanced pre-release sales are limited to 3,000. Order now by visiting quicks.tv. Get yours now before they sell out. Be part of a brand new online experience that you control.
I got messed up on the signals here, and that was QUXTV.com, code Rudy.
QUX.tv.
Oh, QUX.tv,
That's right.
code Rudy. And if you do that, you can get your nice little box. You can get everything on that box. You get on all of those things that cost you 2 and 2.5 times more. The quality is fabulous. We watch it all the time. I get the benefit of seeing OAN, which has been censored by the left-wing pigs that run the other services. And these people are not left-wing pigs. These are people who value free speech and protect your privacy. And they don't keep a record of everything you buy and think about and look at. And they ensure your privacy. So give them a shot. You're going to save money. You're going to be private. You're going to be helping people like them and me and who are on our side. Also, take care of yourself. We're going to put that one on. We can put that one on now as I prepare my cocktail.
Body is an amazing chemical laboratory. When you give it the right chemistry, it functions the best. Balance of Nature is the ultimate whole fruit and vegetable chemistry.
Get 35% off your first order by using discount code RUDY.
You got that 35% off by using discount code Rudy.
Wow. I don't believe it. 35% off?
Not only that, you get these
35.
great looking bottles. Look at these bottles.
Very, very nice.
Red and green.
Da-da-da,
Those are
da-da.
colors you would associate.
Remember,
with fruits
everyone,
and vegetables.
balanceofnature.com, promo code Rudy, 35% off. You'll be bouncing off the walls like this guy who works 14 hours a day. Not even tired, this guy.
Yeah, they may not want to. That might not be good. These people may not want to bounce off the walls. I don't know. Maybe we're doing the wrong thing here.
No,
For those of you who want to relax,
no, what it really does, it gives you the energy you need to get through the day. Look, everyone, right? I think almost everyone can relate to those early afternoon, midday hangover, and you still got a lot to do. You got to finish.
will you
work.
stop saying hangover? They're trying to make out that I'm an alcoholic.
No, yeah, midday. You know, midday drawl, right? Post lunch slump, we'll call it.
There you go.
That's it.
Catch. Ready?
Anyway, balanceofnature.com, promo code Rudy.
Yeah, but it's for across the board. Your activity level.
35% off. Just use the code Rudy at every place you check out. You might get a discount.
Yeah, a couple of left-wing. I don't know if you do it at Starbucks. Yeah, code name Trump. So Michael Goodwin's got a good column today. You should read. I've covered most of it because I steal from him. Called "Biden Putting Screws to Bibi."
Yeah, he's holding them up.
Yeah, I mean, this is ridiculous. Bibi, don't you realize? He's in a terrible spot, Bibi. If you think I'm criticizing him, please. I've been a mayor. I've had executive responsibility. I understand how you have to balance sometimes things you don't want to do for the good of your people. He depends on the U.S. for so much. Even when you think of the weapons that he uses, a lot of the ammunition, a lot of the support, a lot of the things that he might need in the future, because you don't know how long this is going to go. He's going to need from the U.S. Is demented head mean enough to keep things from him? Yes. Is the guy who really is calling the shots, Obama, does he really hate Israel? He does. He doesn't just dislike Israel. He hates Israel. And he admires Iran because it's the Islamic Republic of Iran. And he believes they can be a hedge against Israel, despite the fact that they're homicidal maniacs. That obviously doesn't bother him, or he would not have given them all that money in cash. Now, nobody in America, or not too many people in America, are willing to have the courage to do that analysis of the prince. but I am because I think the truth to the American people is a lot more important than political correctness or somebody falsely calling you a racist. Because the people who falsely call you a racist are racist themselves. This man Obama has done incalculable damage to the United States. And with regard to this pro-Iranian, pro-Islamic policy to the extent of hurting Israel and really supporting its extinction is all driven by Obama and his acolytes who despise Israel, and certainly would agree with Guterres in the awful, disgusting speech that he gave that should have him removed as the UN Secretary General immediately. The UN is supposed to be for peace, not supportive of people who chop babies' heads off, huh? Or want their own people killed, or kill their own people, which is what they do, which is why I think that there is a very good reason. There is a very good reason for you to not reject the notion that strike on the Gaza hospital, the backfire, wasn't done deliberately. They needed an attack by Israelis on some sympathetic target to flip things. And even though it is 100% untrue, it is believed now by probably most of the world that now goes around saying, look at those terrible Jewish people, they kill babies. That is what we call a blood libel. It's been done to Jews for 2,000 years. Gosh, I thought it would be over. I thought we were beyond it. It is so dispiriting to be back having to deal with virulent anti-Semitism. It's so unfair. And it's so discouraging to see the people who support it. And you know, it's even more upsetting to see the fellow travelers, the ones who don't condemn it the way they should. Blinken, instead of looking like he's about to kiss Guterres here in this picture, should have stood up today and asked for his removal immediately. If it were me, I would have. And maybe my president would have fired me. But probably I'd be working for a president who would give me a big hug when I came to the White House for doing it. Or fired me if I didn't. That's the kind of president I'd want to work for. A president who understands our friends and protects them, because we expect our friends to protect us. Instead, we give money and a lot more to a country that wants to destroy our friends and destroy us. As you would imagine, the amount of anti-Semitism is growing exponentially. Another one of Biden's hateful things that he did was to equate anti-Semitism with anti-Muslim behavior, including creating, if he created a blood libel for Israel by not effectively disparaging all of the things that went into creating the impression that Israel attacked that hospital, and the New York Times blasting it, and now pathetically apologizing in a way that does no good. The other thing that is going on is the libel that Biden has created against the American people, that we acted in a rage after September 11th. Could I see film clips of that rage, Ted? The rage after September 11th? Do you have any?
After 9/11?
We don't have any rage.
Just give me a few minutes.
Yeah, you're not going to find any.
Oh.
You know what you're going to find? You're going to find Muslims celebrating.
Right.
That's what you're going to find. You're not going to find Americans beating the hell out of Muslims. Certainly not in New York. I want you for tomorrow night to get out my press conference on September 11 when I asked New Yorkers to restrain themselves if they were feeling emotional about attacking Arab or Islamic people. And next time I have Bernie Kerik or Joe Esposito or one of the guys that was under my command or in my command, I'll have them describe the rather effective unit we put together to protect them. with all that we had to do protecting the city against Islamic attack, I developed a squad to protect Islamics. And I realized after 4 weeks I didn't need it. And I was so proud of the people in my city. See, unlike Biden, I love the people in my city. He hates you. He'd have to hate you if he thought you were systemically racist, wouldn't he? Actually, what he's doing is projecting. He's a racist. He thinks you are. But you see, you're not a crook like he is either, nor are you a pervert like he is. You're probably a decent, normal person. But he thinks everybody's like him. He thinks everybody would, if it were in their political interest, disown their granddaughter and create for her probably psychological problems for the rest of her life, where she's going to find out that her grandfather, well, first of all, she's going to find out that her grandfather was the most crooked president in American history. That probably will do a little bit of a thing on your head. Maybe actually, now that I'm thinking about it, maybe it'd be better that she says, well, he disowned me and he was the most crooked president ever. I don't know. How would that work? Anybody psychological enough thinking here to be able to figure out? Was that
the parents are probably maybe thinking that already. The parents.
Yeah, but the girl who was the mother who had to remember, Hunter lied about that too. Hunter said I didn't impregnate the girl. He had to get caught with DNA. Then he didn't want to support her.
Right.
And then he got his support knocked down to $5,000 a month, and he came there in a private plane. He was given 20, he got knocked down to 5. The guy has pulled in about $50 million over the last 10 years, of which, according to his statement that nobody ever pays attention to, Pop got half, but he got, and the press will never, that's a clear admission that Pop got half. He's got to explain that. I didn't say it. He did. Pop got half of my income for 30 years, which means he's got the other half. It's a lot of money. He seems to be living the life of a king or a prince or whatever the hell he is, although one who's probably doesn't know where he is. Well, he's actually, if you look at the picture, he's lived the life of a disgusting, horrible pervert. But the reality is, he denied it was his daughter, put them through a DNA test, got hit with $20,000 a month, and then went there and said he can't afford it and got it reduced to $5,000 a month. And he showed up in a private plane. What kind of judge is that? What kind of judges do we have now anyway? My God, look at the judge in Trump's case, who Mar-a-Lago, 18. That's got to be on that judge's tombstone. It's got to be, because that is the most corrupt, most ridiculous, most idiotic thing I have ever heard. I will get out for you. We're gonna go down to Palm Beach in a few days, about a week, and I think we're gonna do on a little expedition, Ted. We're gonna go to the real estate offices and find out how many houses there are on the market for over 18 million, and if there's any one that is even 10% of the size of Mar-a-Lago. When I saw one go for 32 million. That was about 1/10 the size of Mar-a-Lago, and it was on only one waterfront. Mar-a-Lago was on 2, and it wasn't profit making. Mar-a-Lago is profit making if you want it to be.
So, Mayor, an interesting story.
I'll tell you one of the things that has happened, and that is the American people questioning judges and taking a good look. I know they want respect, and they think it's really important to have respect. We got to earn it. You got to earn respect, judges. You can't do this. I'm a Democrat. I'm going to make Democrat decisions. I know you get appointed, a lot of you, as hacks, certainly the ones in New York, and don't get insulted. You get appointed by the county leaders. My experience with them was they were all crooks. Now, that goes back a while. I'm not saying they're all crooks today, but not exactly the place where you get meritorious appointment of judges, Democratic county leaders. So, I had a judge that I clerked for that said the problem with judges is, they get appointed through the political process. And then when they get appointed, A lot of them think they were appointed by God, but they were actually appointed only because they were a Republican or a Democrat. So kind of get your feet back on the ground.
Mayor, breaking news from the New York Post. You know where Cooper Union is down in the East Village, right?
Where Abraham Lincoln gave one of his great speeches.
So pro-Palestinian protesters just broke through the school, and Cooper Union had to barricade their Jewish students inside the library, and the police had to come, and they were shouting anti-Semitic things, and they were there to basically hurt them.
Nice.
So will they go to jail for 30 years like the Proud Boys who didn't do anything like that?
I highly doubt it.
Yeah.
And why isn't Mayor Adams like you out there saying do
He's
not
at a-
attack
probably at a-
Jewish people?
Well,
Like,
he's
what's
probably
going
at
on?
well, I don't know. Call up the local club and see if
That's
he's
true. That's true.
He's
Zero
probably in a
bond.
costume.
Zero
tonight.
bond.
It's getting near Halloween, so he's probably out partying in a costume. So these guys, they're going to be held without bond.
I highly doubt it, Mayor. Obviously, there was a, like you said the other day in my neighborhood, there was a huge pro-Palestinian protest in my neighborhood. They were jumping on buses. They were.
They did that in the name of Hamas.
They did this. They said, they have some quotes here. They were slamming. They had anti-Zionist posters against the window and shouting anti-Semitic rhetoric just a few feet away. Zionism, hands off of our university signs. And the university didn't even do anything. The people that were trapped inside the library had to call their relatives to call 911.
So they're sort of like Biden and Blinken with the Americans that are trapped in Gaza. They're going to have to get themselves out.
Right. Sick things going on in our city, Mayor. Don't we wish you were the mayor again? Don't we wish?
Don't we wish that we had a mayor that had common sense and a pair of...
Yeah.
I mean, the guy sometimes has the right ideas, and then Democrat politics intervenes, and he turns into a little wussy.
Well, think about that. The school would not even call the cops. School would not.
Which tells you that the school is anti-Israel, anti-Jewish, pro-Palestinian, all of which makes you anti-American. Who's the ally of America, Palestine or Israel?
Israel.
So all that makes you anti-American. Why the hell don't you go live somewhere else? Why don't you get out of here? But they want to change us into some kind of that school is left of left of left of left. They probably want to turn us into ultra communist.
Isn't that a hate crime, though, Mayor? You're going into a school and you're shouting at Jewish people.
Of course it is.
So they should all be charged with hate crimes. Why are they not?
100% hate crime. I'd almost start thinking it's an act of terrorism.
Nuts. It's very sick thing.
It's a lot. So, Mayor, do you want to explain what we're doing tonight at the top of the hour? Do we want to?
Yes, we're going to take a break at the top of the hour. And we're going to begin a second show because this is a pilot, because we are going to start a second show in a couple of weeks, and we have various formats for it. And tonight it's going to be America's Mayor Confidential. And we are going to go into a little more detail and a little more serious stuff about some of the things we're talking about. And in further episodes, for example, we're trying very hard to get some of the pictures and video from the 45-minute compilation that the Israeli army did, so that we can play it for you. They are, of course, very sensitive to the fact that a lot of it is very, very disturbing. So we would do that in America's Mayor Confidential, and warn you, if you are willing to take a look at what really happened, we may be showing that won't happen tonight, but that will happen in the future. But that's the kind of thing that we have in mind for America's Mayor Confidential, or possibly interviews with people who are sensitive to too wide an audience and would like a more pared down audience that is thoughtful about what they're going to say. We had several conversations today with Israel. I will just say it that way in general, to try to organize people to give us deeper information and maybe an honest perspective on what's happening, because there's so much. I mean, there's usually during war a tremendous amount of propaganda and a tremendous amount of lying. But when you get an administration that lies even when not at war, can you imagine what they do when they're at war and they're double crossing us. They lie like hell. And cracking through it requires intelligence. And I think we have those people. We got them lined up. And so in about a minute, we're going to break. We're going to say good night. We're going to say God bless America. And if you hang on, you're going to see another show, America's Mayor Confidential. God bless you, and we'll see you tomorrow night.